Balcones' first ever year-round bourbon was an inspiration. It all had to work together. A blend of carefully selected ingredients, Texas-sized pot stills, and creative people determined to find the absolute best way to usher a new whiskey along. When you discover how it pairs with a meaningful moment, suddenly the feeling of drinking great whiskey becomes a whole lot more.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Whiskey Neat Spirited Conversations with Interesting People. I am your host, Kristopher Hart. I'm trying to figure out what to do with these horrible glasses. I actually looked pretty good in them. So this week I sit down with Greg Doxakis, our very first guest on this show from Plantation in Maison Ferrand. Now, for those who don't know, the word plantation has crazy rich history in the U.S. in its ties to slavery. So very recently, Plantation announced that they were going to change the name of their rum, Plantation Rum, to something else. They don't know yet, acknowledging how that word could be disturbing for some. So this week, we sit down with Greg Doxakis from Maison Ferrand to talk about the name change and to talk about their new Fiji bottlings. They've got 2 new Fiji products, 2 Fiji rums that are absolutely fantastic. We talk about it, we walk through it, we talk about price point. We give you as much information as we can, and we have a good conversation. God bless Docs. Without further ado, Whiskey Neat is supported by the Inspired Spirits at Glass River Imports and Amrut Distilleries. Amrut crafts one of the most award-winning single malts to the exact same standards of Scotch and can be found almost everywhere in Texas. Yes, our barrel is coming. Yes, we made a selection. Yes, it's absolutely an Oloroso sherry bomb. Amrut is fantastic. Go out and find a bottle today. If you don't like it, reach out to me. Give me your feedback. Let me know. I'm that confident about it. It's really, really good. So, without further ado, Greg Doxakis from Maison Ferrand and Plantation Rums. Cheers. Awkward starts. Docs, what's up, buddy?
Was that a cold start?
Yeah, it was a cold start. Yeah.
How am I living?
Normally we do the intros separate and place it at the beginning and kind of cuts over to us talking. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I tell you what, this is a good feeling. It's fun to do this again. This is one of the things I miss doing.
It's been unbelievably bizarre, and every roadblock along the way, it's been such like pulling teeth just to get in the studio to do episodes. I think Brandon can sympathize. It's been a doozy for sure.
Yeah, I do have a question. I want to jump right into this though.
Is it about Golden Girls? Because I will get it. I don't know if you saw my score last time we played, but I was killing it.
Did you do well on Golden Girls?
I left towards the end so that someone else could win the prize. That's how good I was doing on Golden Girls.
I think that's a lie.
I don't know.
I will say this though. You shared it, and that particular video got the most views of any of ours. It got like 2,000 views, where typically we get like 400 views.
I'm a social media influencer, Docs. That's what I do.
You're somebody. I'm definitely somebody. So, and I'm going to do a little promotion here. We are doing trivia again this Friday at 8:30. It's going to be 80s music trivia.
Yeah, for those who aren't familiar with what's going on, Greg is all things family-oriented, Disney-oriented, Golden Girls-oriented. You have a bit of a fan.
My wife likes Golden Girls, and they got a cult following, so I was happy to play along.
You dressed up like
I did. I dressed up as Sophia Petrella. I even got my perfect... The thing about Sophia Petrella is when you're talking, I could say that you're Dorothy here. You don't look at Dorothy, you look straight ahead. Listen, pussycat, take it from me. Don't ever look at the person you're talking to. Talk straight into the camera.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. You can't sit there and do that and dress up like Sophia and then say you're not Golden Girls.
I'm not. No.
Oriented.
If I were, I would freely admit it. But no, when I was first courting my wife, like a lot of women, that was like her background noise show. You know what I mean? And so
as is all of us from this. I'd say that from my generation was the tail end of it. Maybe a few years later, but probably there's a 20-year gap of Nick at Night fans who were it was Golden Girls, The Nanny. I mean, you can hit me with every Nick at Night.
Fran Drescher.
I mean, all of those shows were like a huge part of our childhood.
No. Listen, I'm gonna say for I think young women. It's a cult following. Women are of all ages and are drawn to it, and I could see why. I mean, it's a bonding thing. It's for. I know I'm going to sound like I'm pandering here, but I'm not. It's this is for independent women who are collectively together.
Sure.
Collectively together, duh. But
yeah.
You see how I'm going like that?
Syncing up. Is that what you're saying?
I think, and also I think from the 4 different personalities that any woman can find one that they are drawn to and can relate to. How did we turn this into a Golden Girls thing? Yeah. This is your fault.
It's my fault. It's my fault. So Dox does these Monday nights, trivia nights, and you.
Right. No, well, it depends. It all started with the COVID when we first were on hardcore lockdown. Like, nobody go outside, nobody breathe, and so it just kind of just started out of fun. Just like on Friday night. I didn't even announce it. Just put it on Facebook Live, and I did Disneyland trivia because I like Disneyland. Now that I'm way into. I'm a big nerd. I'm borderline obsessed with the whole Disneyland thing.
Don't you have I could be wrong, but like a scale model of Disneyland?
Yeah, I got, and not the whole park. I wish I had the room for it. It's a scale model of Main Street. Yeah. And I just, you may have seen this on Facebook Live, this also. I converted a piece of garbage Bradford Exchange mine set into Big Thunder Mountain. I redid it. I did the sign. I redid the lighting. I made a little train for it. And it looks like Big Thunder Mountain Ride from Disneyland. I'm proud of that.
Well, if that doesn't call for a drink, I don't know what does.
Let's do it.
Let's jump into something. I'd love to. I'm glad you're back on. I want to talk about the new packaging. Obviously, for those looking on camera, Greg brought Plantation's new Fiji offerings, new bottle design, the squat bottle, and of course, I thought for a split second it was the Extremis, and I got a little excited and then realized I'm never going to get my hands on one. But and then also there's been some changes happening within the organization we can kind of skim over and talk about and find out what's going on.
Without giving away too much, I will say that there is an old saying, never say never.
Sure. And
that's all I'm going to say about that for now.
Oh,
on the Extreme.
If you have a no-holds-barred gauntlet trivia night over the nanny, Fran Drescher, and the prize is a bottle of Extremis, I will be there, dressed like her, and when I win, I'm going to laugh like her.
Well, first off, Extremis was an enemy for Iron Man. It's Extreme. It's Extreme.
Sorry. See, it's not even a U.S. bottling, right? We don't ever... In my head, Extremis is what
that's not true. It's never made it to Texas. Okay. It's always very, very, very limited.
Which is all that matters. It's
really.
Like,
I mean,
what else is there? It's like saying it's international offering.
The United States. So no, it's just never made it to Texas, and that's something that we're working on. We just released, I think 6 different Extreme. And some will make it to the United States and possibly Texas, and I don't know when. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. You have to wait.
All right. Well, let's jump into this. I did bring I know you guys aren't sourcing from Nicaragua anymore. Yeah. They've been kind of a hot mess of a country for a little bit. So I did bring a little bit here. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if we've had this together. I thought we could definitely.
I don't think we have. In fact, I do have a bottle at home that I do take a little wee nip about every now and then. But the last time I had it amongst other people was at Lalo, and that was quite a while ago.
Yeah. All right. Well, so you also brought some samples with you. What did you bring?
Well, I did bring, something that is currently available in the market, and we're quite proud of it. Is the extension of the signature line, which would be the Plantation 5-year Barbados, and also the Plantation Jamaica, of course, from Jamaica. And this is our newest offering, which is the Plantation. There we go, Isle of Fiji. And it's what we call the signature line there. It had that similar squat packaging opposed to the tall and slender packaging that you see like on the bar classic, like the 3-star. And like all plantations, we strive to make each one different as possible from the last one. We don't like to repeat ourselves, and that can be a bit of a chore. But one of the tools that we have at our disposal is the fact that something that plantation is all about, but that grand terroir of rum, and that is to say that rum from each country is going to have its own character traits. So Fiji is practically unheard of in the United States. We had done a Fiji 2009 release, 2004. 2004 release. And we had that one. Do you remember Doug's event over at the Pappas's house?
Yes, the annual Greek event. Yeah,
we tried that one 2 years ago together when we also had the Peru 2009, and that was in just the old traditional, not single cask, but vintage packaging. It wasn't as fancy as this one here. But the Fiji rum was just it was different in the sense that it was a flavor sandwich. If I remember correctly, that particular one, it would start off dry and then sweeten up in the middle and then dry up again on the finish. It was quite unique that way. And we have a tendency to, I don't like to use the word funk because I do feel that Jamaica has,
cornered
that particular
Can I open this?
superlative. This one, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It has cornered
This is
that.
the one you suggest we start with, right?
Yeah, let's do that. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because we also have, this one's not in Texas yet, but it should be here hopefully by the winter.
And I see a big fat double-digit age statement on the front of that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
15 years old.
When it's out, yeah. But it's going to be, of course, after it's been aged in
a year in France.
At least a year. Now, I got my cheat sheet right here. I need to bring this up because, again, this one's not even in the United States yet. You know what I mean? So I'm just getting another one myself also. I have tasted it, but I just want to double check on the...
it says it on the front. It says 14 years tropically aged, 1 year continental, double aged.
Then that is correct, sir.
I know you guys kind of catch some flack. I think Wade would agree. I think we've always found you guys to be extremely transparent, over transparent.
I don't know anything about flack, and I'm not familiar with this word personally.
Yeah, I think on our rums, I think we put continental. Yeah, we put continental.
Okay, well now you need to leave that out because it'll be my first chance to try that as well.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So let's start with this one here. This is the Fiji Isle of Fiji, I should say.
Fiji rum.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he was after hearing Alexander talk about this. He was after this distillery for quite some time, trying to get them to sell him some rum. I could be wrong. My memory is shite. But
no. They actually met. They did a Zoom meeting together yesterday. They actually met a while back, and it wasn't that we were trying to get some rum. We know because we had that Fiji from 2 years ago, and of course it has to spend its time inside the Ferrand cask, so It's been at least 4 or 5 years. But just
originally when he was trying to get rum from them. I thought I remember Alexander telling a story of he tasted it and said, "Okay, you've got to sell me some of this." I could be wrong.
Oh, I'm sure he did, but I just don't know how much pushback there was.
Sure,
that's what I'm trying to say. But no, we do have we are using a lot more of their rum. Not only do we have the Isle of Fiji, which you're seeing here, but you're going to see the Fiji 2005, and there's going to be a couple of single casks that are coming out later this year. I don't know if they're coming to Texas yet. And there's one I haven't even had a chance to try yet that's been triple aged in Lenny Aquavit barrels. Yeah.
Dorsch Family Wine and Spirits. That's the same company as his name's skipping me at the moment. He comes to the social every year and he sits 2 rows in front of you.
It's an importer. That's all it is.
I thought Redemption, right? Isn't it all done by the Dorsch family?
Maybe.
Is it Dorsch family or Dude?
It's Deutsch. Yes.
Yeah, I stopped myself mid-word.
It's definitely Deutsch.
I stopped myself mid-word, realizing that it was definitely not the right word.
It's definitely Deutsch. Yes.
Yeah, Deutsch family wine. Well, it smells great. I really enjoy the nose on this. What's the proof on this?
80. Flat up 80. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, I swear to God.
Sorry, didn't know you were. Oh yeah, pouring yourself some.
Of course. So, this one.
There is a little bit of funk, just a little bit.
You would see. I like to call it it's got some mustiness to it. You know what I mean? Because Haiti, I think, has a funk to it also. But I just don't want to call it that because we automatically lean towards that Jamaican funk, which again, that's got to be a great band name.
Haiti's Clarin funk is more. Every time you say Haiti, I think of rum juice, or not rum juice, ham juice. That cold. There's something off about. I'm not as big of a fan as Haiti as I love Jamaica.
Ham juice?
Yeah. When you Thanksgiving, you buy a spiral cut ham, you take the packaging off, and there's some liquid in the wrapping. I forget who it was. It might have been Mike Salopek. He brought some
and
Clarin.
You tasted it?
Yeah, he brought some Vellier's Clarin Haiti juice. on the show, and I just didn't care for the
I
hand
haven't
nub.
tried theirs. They're actually, to be honest, the only ones from us I've tried are the single cask, which always have a triple finish. We did one for Julep that was, if I remember correctly, finished in the dry curacao cask.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sounds
also, there was another one we did for NASA and Rosewater.
Oh, you're talking about the Amberana cask?
No.
The Almond Joy
this
bottle?
is years ago.
Oh, okay.
Years ago. It was one of the very first. It was a Haiti that I think was in red Pinot cask, I believe. I can't remember if it was we released 2 that year. One was Panama. This is 5 years ago. This one's way gone. I can't remember if the Panama was in red Pinot or the Haiti was in red Pinot. One was in red, one was in red. One was in white.
Not familiar.
It's pronounced Deutsch. Deutsch.
Oh, God. Yeah, his name is driving me nuts. I can't remember it. He represents Layer Cake, Redemption Rye, Tony. You don't know Tony locally?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts.
There is a Redemption Rye with the Plantation finish.
Which is what set my alarms off. Is they used Plantation's barrels, and it's the same parent company.
I know Natalie. She worked for them.
Tony, gonna drive me nuts.
So one thing about this is you let this one needs to sit for a little bit. I know we got off product.
Yeah.
Because I think when you first fresh in the glass, it can be a little underwhelming right on the tongue. But you let it sit for a little bit, and it truly opens up, and then the flavors start to come out, and it becomes a much more complex. I hate saying complex because it's not as complex as its 2005 counterpart. It's a little bit easier to handle, but there's definitely becomes more. It starts to blossom a little bit. Okay,
Sure.
That's what I want. Blossom. Yeah.
You like for it to sit? You said.
Absolutely. I think it's
Yeah.
about right now.
Tony Costello. That's his name.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
No. I know his name. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you?
It's got a nice creamy feel on the palate, right there in the middle of the tongue. Now, the one we're drinking right now is the Ala Fiji.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is product of Fiji Islands. Is there more than one rum distillery in Fiji?
I don't know. This is the one we work with.
Sure.
Hey, you know what? Honestly, 4 years ago, I didn't know this one existed.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody was making it up
Yeah.
until you guys.
Yeah. And they do a local. They're most known for a local Fiji rum, also called Bounty. Not associated with our friends at Spirit Bam. It's something completely different.
Bounty?
Yeah, but it's only, I think it's only sold locally in Fiji. Yeah, but they make a lot of rum. Yeah, but we're just getting to know their stuff, and this is Alexander to a T, where he likes to take things that are unconventional and really just take that ball and run with it. I think it was transatlantic. Is that the? Oh my God! They do a Fiji release. They do a Trinidad, transcontinental. I'm embarrassed.
You're close.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's Trey something Trey.
No. You think it's Trey Virus. They've been in the States for a while, and I'm embarrassed I can't think of their name right now. But they've done some releases.
Anyone who's a rum fan is screaming at their radio right now. What? So you got Fiji, and then you brought some. Are these the next round of single barrels coming to the?
Some of them.
Some of them.
Yes.
And you guys stopped doing the single barrel with names on it. More.
Nope, we're doing it again.
You're doing it again. Okay. So
Give the people what they want, Guillaume. I'm talking to you.
Because we talked a little bit about this. We did our own Jamaica.
One of the best.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
One of the best Jamaicans we've ever done was y'all's, which was was it a rye finish or a tealing finish? I don't remember now.
Long Pond ITPH.
What was y'all's? Was it a tealing finish or a rye finish?
Tealing.
That's right.
Yeah, it was tealing Irish whiskey finished.
It was lovely.
And it was like 104 proof, 105. It was 50 something, 52.
It was one of the best we've ever done.
And it did very well for us. We're very
Sold
happy with
like
it.
in 2-3 days.
It's hard to complain with just a straightforward product like that, and trust me, in a group like HBS, people find a reason to complain.
I hadn't noticed. I find them to be all delightful.
Oh man,
we're all getting together on Sunday. All right, so let's try 2005 next. Now, I want you to keep that fingerprint in the mind of what you just tasted.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be easy. This is going to be got to be the ramped up version, a little bit older, a little bit higher proof. You're going from 80 proof to 100 proof. You're looking at what'd you say, 6 years, up to 15 years. And listen, for those of you who are not rum fans, listen, let me tell you something. The worst thing you can do in life is say, oh, my grandfather drank Makers, I only drink Makers. Listen, Makers is a fantastic product, but there are so many great rum, so many great spirits. It's been time in a barrel. Cognac is another one. The entire last episode, the episode that aired today, aired a little early, we just drank cognac, and it was fantastic.
Huh?
Like, there's so many great things out there. Get out of your comfort zone and learn to acclimate. So I'm ready.
No, I agree 100%. I'd like to touch on something on that, though, is that I think the problem is that so many people misunderstand spirit categories. They misunderstand what cognac is. They misunderstand what rum is. And you'll see it in the gin world also. People who don't like gin, 9 out of 10 times, it's because the first gin they had was mixed with cheap tonic.
Yeah, I hate it.
It's the tonic you don't like.
I used to rag on gin. I'm a gin convert. I used to openly bash it in HBS, largely because most gin is basically flavored vodka. It's the original flavored vodka. But there's a lot of really great craft gins out there that are a lot of love. And it's just like 10 years ago in the U.S., our perception of rum was Malibu, was spiced rum, was Captain Morgan's, was Kraken. Like, there's so many great rums out there that if you only knew the bad stuff, the crap that's not worth your time, then it's hard to be introduced to a new category. So, I mean, my first experience with cognac was Hennessy. My first experience with rum was Captain Morgan's in Malibu, and definitely Kraken. Kraken was like the cool black rum,
Okay, well, listen, but you're sitting around the pool, playing water volleyball and just having a good time, not really thinking about it. What's the harm in something like a Kraken and root beer and that sort of thing, or even like a cheap rum pina colada? It's just at that point you're not drinking to really to dig deep and to really think about it. It's just one of those you're just goofing around. Who cares? But what my point is that's okay. But it's time for those bourbon drinkers that do want to dissect that bourbon and they want to think about it and they want to get immersive in it. That's what they should start doing with their rums and their cognacs and their scotches and Irish whiskeys and even gins. Get to know them. There are the brands that are worth getting to know.
What's the name of the Dominican rum? We went there for my
Brugal.
Brugal was
phenomenal rum.
Was my experience of rums when we got married. We went to the Dominican Republic, spent a few weeks there. All I drank was.
Does that made you a rum lover?
That's when I first found that I realized I love rum.
They make outstanding rums.
They do some añejos. We spent the entire time there just drinking either neat or one of my guilty pleasures, and that is a 400-calorie pina colada. I will drink the shit out of those things, but So we've obviously expanded past that, and there's a lot of great things out there. And of course, there's nothing wrong if you want a Malibu and Coke. Everyone likes to go to a dive bar.
Yes, there's something wrong if you want a Malibu and Coke. Gross. Put your Malibu with maybe orange juice for a creamsicle, or maybe
I don't know. I try to be open-minded. Like there's a great rum out there at every price point, and at literally every price point. So expand outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess we're touching. Some people are throwing their empty bottles at the screen right now because some of the frustration is that some of the arguments that rum can be very loosely defined.
Oh yes, There's a lot of fair complaint. It's like whiskey in India. The number one selling whiskey in the world isn't even whiskey.
But I'll say this though, and I think it comes down to this, and I don't want to say freedom of speech because it's such a cliche, but I think it's worth suffering some of the
opinions.
No, not opinions, but it's worth suffering some of the more dubious products to be allowed the freedom to create something that's truly unique and worthwhile.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is obviously there's just a segment of the rum world that wants to put some very heavy constraints on how rum is produced and how it can be called and how it should be labeled. And I understand their point of view, but the bigger picture I do believe is that it's worth suffering, again, some of those products that just may not be on the same deep end of the pool so that we can make those rums.
So if I'm hearing you right, what you mean is there are some people who do a lot of dubious things to make bad rums.
Yes. Well,
because they're really skirting the system, and it's worth allowing that, and obviously for some calling them out on that for being inferior or bad for whatever reason, because it does allow those who do care about rum to really explore their space in a creative way.
think it allows those who want to be creative and be transparent about it. I don't think, you can make. There's quality rums that stick to some very strict guidelines that don't color outside the lines.
Sure.
We make a lot of rums like that. However, there's some rums that we like to color outside the lines a little bit. Some of the finishes we do, clearly the use of dosage, which we're very transparent about, and we're very proud of. We're not embarrassed about it.
It's clearly written on that.
Sometimes. I know we don't always use it. And this, now, for the record, this one, if I remember correctly, is 16 grams per liter.
That's correct.
Which is the same as the 5-year. That one is only 4, which was if I remember correctly, it was the exact same amount of dosage that we had for the last Fiji.
So just a touch.
Just a touch. And honestly, I have not had a chance to talk to Alexander, our production, about why we lean towards that minimal amount with the Fiji vintages. I don't know yet. It's
And maybe it's all that it needs. Right?
It could be. I mean, maybe it's just particular with the way that Fiji rum is. We should probably pour this one as we're talking.
Yeah. Let's do it. So you've got the bottle.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And you'll see what I mean. And there's definitely, they have their reasons. It's not going to be just do this. There's a lot of test. I'm not close up to the mic. There's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of research with our rums. It's a very specific vision with every single one we have. There's never like, let's just try this and put it out there. We have a very specific vision.
So let's briefly skim the surface here. But a couple, probably about a month ago. As far as I know, I was the first one to break it to my audience, but a few people shared it from there. I shared it in HBS, but you guys have decided to change your name.
Yes.
From what I understand, the way the headline read in that one particular article, that got more traffic than anything ever else written by that one company.
What article?
There was an article done about it that basically the news article that broke that your name was changing.
Oh yeah.
Plantation, I think it was headlined something along the lines that Plantation plans to change its name and acknowledges its tie to slavery.
The funny thing is they that particular article, to her credit, the author of that she rewrote the headline twice, actually.
Oh, she changed it?
Yeah, she did. And
made it more incendiary or less incendiary?
No, less. Well, I mean, it was not intended.
Sure.
It was not intended. When we meant plantation, the word plantations ties to slavery, not us as a company.
Sure.
See, if you read it, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're like, whoa.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. It's just the actual word.
It's a really interesting subject because I followed the thread and it took everything I had not to chime in. Anybody who felt like it was too far of a move that may have been a bit pandering were called racist, and those who applauded you guys for being progressive, which, by the way, it is not easy, and I fully acknowledge Alexander's struggle. It's not easy when you spend all this money on packaging and branding and products to start from scratch. It is a huge financial loss to do something so progressive, and then you still get hit with some very colorful opinions against the change. So yeah. I'm sure, as you being the state rep for Texas, that you've seen your fair share of comments one way or the other.
No, not a lot. Honestly,
really?
I have not seen a ton of them.
I saw your Facebook post. You were like, I thought I would get more calls today.
I thought I'd get a lot more texts. Today. I haven't seen a ton. Now they're out there. They're certainly out there. I just don't follow a lot of the pages. The Facebook groups, I follow mine. I'm obviously a member of the HBS, and I don't see a ton.
Sure,
they're certainly out there.
There wasn't a ton of comments in HBS about it. It was more in the international rum groups.
And in a general, in a general way, just the Facebook groups can be very toxic. Environments, for sure. And just I don't need that in my life.
It's my constant struggle. I've said this 1,000 times. I'm 30. I'll be 33 this year.
Yeah.
87. I'm 30. I'll be 33 in a month, in August. I look much older. My hair's falling out.
You're only 33?
Yeah.
You need to see someone.
Yeah. I look, and this guy's 40. Brandon's offside. The guy looks incredible. He looks beautiful and stress-free, and I know what his job is here. It's definitely stressful. But No, man, it's aged me quite a bit. It's this constant. I went to bed early a couple nights ago at 9 p.m. Literally just before 9 p.m. I went to bed. And of course, some drunk dude makes some very sexist meme on HBS, and I wake up and to a flood of issues and complaints, and I'm like, I went to bed at 9. They're like, what are you, 50? Why are you going to bed at 9? So it's something that it's impossible to win. It's impossible to be progressive and still not infuriate everybody. Yeah, I think the problem is no one knows exactly how to solve our current plight. And every decision, regardless of what decision it is going to be met with, that's not the right way to do it because this is what's going to happen if you do it that way. And I understand that, and that's fair. I don't have all the answers. But I will say this, it could not have been easier, or could not have been easy. It definitely was difficult, and it was definitely costly. So my hats off to Gabriel. My hats off for the very progressive and very costly decision to try to make a difference.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Let you finish it up.
And I was just going to say this. In this industry, I think, obviously, Alexander catches a lot of flack. He genuinely is trying.
Yeah.
And it kills me at how the image is painted as this evil devil when he genuinely is trying his hardest in what seems to be an impossible situation.
So I think thank you for saying that, because I don't think he gets enough credit for being someone who does actually care. He gets painted as this well-to-do world traveler, this bon vivant that's just living off the backs of
his employees,
and a wave of just spirit.
Colonialism?
No, not colonialism. It's the fact that we're living in a time where spirits are more. I don't say en vogue, but just spirits. We have more true fans. We have fanatics. We have people where they're, like I said, diving into the deep end of the pool.
Sure.
So I think there's a lot of times where he's accused of just trying to get his big piece of that any place he can. That's not the case. Again, this man has a vision. The company has a vision, and every single time that we produce something, we consider the pros and the cons. And I'm getting off track here.
Sure, yeah.
But back to the name change. Let's be very clear about this. This is not something that you woke up one morning and goes, you know what, we should change the name.
Sure.
This has been talked about. We're a very close-knit company. The access that I have to not only Alexander, but the entire Maison Ferrand management team, if you want to call it that, back in France and here in the United States with Guillaume. It's not hard to get a hold of them. We have some very candid conversations. We have some very open conversations. And I'm not going to necessarily put things to a vote, but we always have very open discussions, usually in January.
There's a lot of dialogue involved.
Exactly. He wants to know what the team feels. And we're big now, man. Well, we're bigger. When I first joined the team, there was probably about 30 of us worldwide in that crammed into the tasting room at Bombonnet to have our meetings, and now we have to go down the road to a hotel because we've expanded. Admin team is much bigger now. We now have an incredible woman. Her name is Angelique Julien. She is the head of our marketing, and she's the one behind such great packaging. She got that ball rolling for us, packaging. And we're kind of coming into the modern world where it's not just enough to be a good spirit in the bottle. It's about image. It's about relaying your message and your mission statement. And she's been just crucial, and that's taking that next step and being a more global product. That's just one person named quite a few. But anyway, we've added so many to the team. It gets bigger and bigger, and my whole point is that it takes a while to let every idea that wants to be spoken work
through.
Yeah. So, and one of those ideas we've been talking, it comes up and we talk about it because it's a thing, and we just could not deny the the connection anymore. And even though plantation had nothing to do with Southern plantation, it had nothing to do with the Civil War or slavery here in the United States. That was never the intention, and it certainly was not where we got the name from. But we could not deny not only that connection, but also, the possible connection of a real plantation of what it was named after, built on the backs of exploited workers, if not slaves. And
so can I add my 2 notes here?
Yeah.
This is something I want to say. It's something I've kind of said before. My personal feelings, which I realize is coming from a different perspective, a very privileged perspective, is that the entire reason for language, the entire reason for all forms of language, including writing, is about expressing intention. And my wife, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head, but if I say something, it's supposed to be about what I mean when I say it, right? So when my wife says, "Do these jeans look good?" and I say, "Oh, those jeans, they look pretty skinny on you," and she says, "Well, what do you mean they look pretty skinny? Am I not skinny?" Like the twisting of the words. I fully recognize that there's obviously a clear reminding, a connection to the word plantation, and its effect on American society. Fully recognize it. I get it. I don't think that that's the intention. And I don't think that's the applicable intention globally. It's more specific to the U.S. and our current issues. When these types of things come up, I do wonder if it's the right move, but I also understand his intention by doing this is to recognize the pain, to recognize what they're going through, and to try to help. So it's a battle of. Obviously, y'all didn't mean any reference to slavery, even though the entire rum industry was built off the back of black people. So I get frustrated, or I think we're paying attention to the wrong things sometimes when we get caught up on words that just remind us of other words. That they're not necessarily tangentially connected, but they remind us, so therefore we're bothered by it. But I also get it. I also get the reason for the change. I also get the hurt that comes from it. I applaud his efforts, and I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm commenting on the nuance of how language is supposed to be meant, and how sometimes just because things remind us of other things, we're therefore hurt by it.
And you're 100% right, and that's the thing, is that we've never been dismissive about the hurt that the word can bring up. We've never said, "Don't worry about it. It's not what it means."
Sure.
We never said that. All we could do was explain what the intention was, and that was when they first named this brand, which is over 20 years ago. Just a couple of guys out there in France, and they're thinking, "Hey, what would be a great name?" They didn't do research. They didn't have what they called focus groups to see how it would play. At this time, the dream of it being such a global brand and grown into what it's in, I don't know they even considered that.
Sure.
And Alexander himself has said that, had we started the brand today, there would definitely be that sort of research, and we don't have a name yet because we are doing that research. I think we have 3 independent groups, independent from the company,
trying to think of a new name,
coming up with some names for us, because we're not changing it again. Whichever name we settle on, that's it. So we want to make sure we get this one right. And we
definitely don't want to name the new rum Adolf or anything remotely tied to. Just kidding.
It was not over here.
No. But I get what you're saying. One last question, then we can move on.
Well, no, I want to say this one thing though. But we don't have a name yet, but the name that we want to go with, it's not just going to be something that's going to, be peppy and rolls well off the tongue and it's marketable. It has to be reflective of who we are.
Sure.
Just is the same way that Plantation has been, as a brand.
Last question. Yeah. Do you know who within the organization posed the name change? Like, what was it done in the marketing level? Was it Alexander's idea? Was there?
As I said before, it's something that we've been discussing as a team or a family for quite some time. So it's not a new conversation. But ultimately, this is Alexander's decision and his idea.
Okay.
If Alexander, clearly if he wasn't on board, it wouldn't happen. But this is Alexander's call, 100%.
Sure. Well, I appreciate it. We haven't even talked about the way this tastes. I will say it definitely is a ramped up version of the 80 proof. It's older,
and that is intentionally by design. If there's someone who likes the rums that are a higher proof, the deeper into the pools we talked about, that wants something a little bit more complex, something that's they'll chew on a little bit better, this may not be for them.
Yeah.
Now, if you like, if you're someone that's getting into aged spirits and learning rum, if you're a whiskey drinker out there that's learning to drink rums for the first time, this might be a good place to start.
Sure.
And not to say that
Do you know the price point on that?
It's same as the 5-year and the Jamaica. The SRP is going to be $25.
$25, yeah. It's a great price point. I'm getting I'm getting little aspects of Guyana in this, a little bit of that licorice note, that anise, tons of like ginger, tons of. I really, really, really enjoy this kind of turned up a notch. Like it's a really nice bottle.
Mm-hmm. So, and do you still do you still have any of the 2004 left?
Which one is it? Fiji?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay, I think I might have.
Got the last one in Peru's and
we may have to
Guatemala's.
we may have to get together again and sample these together side by side. So I'll let you be the judge of it. But it does remind me of that particular vintage, in the sense that it does have that flavor sandwich. I was talking. I don't want to say flavor sandwich. It was more like that mouthfeel sandwich.
Sure.
How it starts off a little sweet, dries up, and then sweetens up again on the end.
So are these single casks already spoken for? Or is Doc's going to throw Chris an old bone again?
We can talk. Well, hey, that's what we call segue. All right, so let's jump into some of these single casks. Now, I will show you some of the spoken for.
Okay.
And we just mentioned Guyana Rum, so let's just jump right into that one.
Yeah, sure.
Now, this one has been selected by our friends at the Austin Shaker. Have you been there?
I have not, but I know the guys very well.
They're
Quite the colorful crowd of personalities.
I adore them. They are fun people. And Dave and Kiki, and we actually got a chance to spend a little time together. We broke a little bread carefully in Austin last week.
Far apart.
Yeah, I made a quick hit and run in Austin last week and spent some time with them and just enjoyed seeing them. And we went, oh man, they let me try I think it was a Puerto Rican rum.
What's the next one? I'll open that now since they are sealed tightly shut.
I know, right? Jeez. Okay, and these are little sample bottles, by the way. These aren't consumer
100
bottles.
100 mils.
Yeah. Anyway, we were trying some of their rum collection, which was fun. But they were the first account in Austin to
carry you guys?
To have their own single cask, and it was a Panama. Ooh, was it a Panama with the Aaron cask finish? I believe it was.
Okay. A little peat in there.
And last year they did a Trinidad with the Kilhoman cask finish.
More peat, younger peat, yeah.
It was lovely. Just worked out so well. This year they're going a different direction. Guyana 2008 with a red Pinot cask finish. Red Pinot cask. And so if anyone doesn't know, when we say Pinot, we mean Pinot de Charon. Pinot de Charon is a dessert.
Pinot de Charon?
Pinot de Charon is a dessert wine we make with cognac. It's actually going to be aged cognac blended with the unfermented juice of the grapes that we use to make the wine, to make cognac. But we don't do a red one at Ferrand. We used to, but we don't do one anymore. And the very first time, I was with Morgan Weber, actually. We were in cognac. Yeah, we were in Cognac, and we went to a cognac store in Cognac, across the street from a restaurant in Cognac. Every time we say Cognac, you can take a shot. And they had a whole big selection of Pinot de Charon, and I never tried the rubies or the reds before, so we got a whole slew of them and took them back to the house and tried them. And I hated every single one of the red ones. Hated them. We're talking Manischewitz sweet. Absolutely hated them. But so I'm just a fan of white wine, but I'm a fan of what the red finish does. Because remember now, and it's all come back to me. Yes, that
it coats the mouth. So it really coats the mouth.
It truly does. So on the nose,
tons of red apples.
There is a. I don't want to say buttery. There's almost a dairy quality to it.
Been growing my. I see you have too. My COVID stash.
Oh man, I've been all over the place. I'm currently rocking the handlebar with the.
Yeah, the evildoer. The old Disney, the old Disney bad guy.
Snidely Whiplash.
I always forget his name. The old Rocky and Bullwinkle bad guy.
No, that was Boris. He had more of the two set of mustache.
Snidely was the Canadian guy.
Was it Canadian?
Dudley Do-Right's bad guy, right?
Okay, maybe you're right. We're all over the place. Golden Girls,
God.
Dudley Do-Right.
What are your thoughts on slavery? It's all over the place.
I'm against it. All right, so
it's really interesting. I
nice?
love. How long was it in the barrel? Do you know? A year? Is it always a year? Yeah, 1 year in red Pinot cask.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to have to look this one up because, again, this one is fresh out of the box. And let's see. I'm going to make sure I have this correct for you here. This one is 9.5 years in bourbon cask, 1.5 years in the Ferrand cask, and 1 year in the Pinot de Charente cask.
I don't think we've ever asked you this question, and I'm curious. So a lot of Guyanas, there's only one distillery in Guyana. A lot of their distillate is colored after distillation. A lot of it is. But there are some older casks that are not colored. I'm curious, do you guys add coloring? Or is it not? Because this is very light for 2008.
Yeah.
12 years.
Well, it's funny you asked that. The cane sugar caramel is between 0% to 0.1%.
Yeah, so it's even, yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. You guys you give all the nerd information you want. I don't know why anybody would have an issue with that.
100. Wait, there's so much information that I'm just like, oh God, do we really have to talk about that? Who cares? But people care. Then I'm not talking about the dosage. I'm talking.
Sure.
We even
just
have,
everything.
We have volatile substances on there now.
So we're running. I know we're running low on time.
Yeah.
What's next? If we had to taste one more before we left.
Okay.
I've got I see a Jamaica here from Long Pond.
Mm-hmm.
6 months in New York Distillery Company rye whiskey cask.
So I'm going to point out these two.
Is
real
that
quick.
our friend Danielle?
Who?
Danielle Story?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I asked that question also. It's not. It's I can tell you. It's
Hudson was the name I was thinking of for those wondering.
It is New York Distilling Company. That's not Hudson.
That's what it says, New York Distilling Company. I thought it meant a New York Distillery Company.
No. Now, listen, hey, there are companies that I learned about just by us doing a barrel exchange with them.
Sure.
Most that comes to mind is, I hope I'm saying this right, McMyra, the Swedish single malt.
Yeah.
Who knew the Swedes had single malt? I didn't. Until we started doing a barrel exchange. So, but here's the thing. So this one right here is a Panama 2007 in champagne cask.
Okay, let's do that.
This one, I thought you're supposed to open these.
I opened this other one. I opened the Jamaica, the New York thing because I thought of Danielle's story. Shout out to Danielle and Glenfiddich. And
Okay, again, segue. So what reminds me about this one is I'm reminded of the Glenfiddich Grand Cru. Did you ever try that?
Yes, I did.
So the first
I owned 3 bottles.
So the first time I tried, you're drinking from my glass. There is a pandemic going on here, sir. Which, by the way, that's now your glass.
That
also.
is now my glass. Yeah. Let's just do that. There we go. I got a clean one right here. I thought you were pouring for me. My apologies. All right, first glass.
So this is the Panama 2007. The finish on this one is a champagne cask. So when I first heard about this one, I expected it to be super rich and a little bit sweet like a lot of our Panama ones.
And there's some maltiness in there.
But
biscuits.
It dries up like crazy. And this is what it reminded me of. I think it's that champagne cask because when I first tried that Grand Cru from Glenfiddich, I expected it to be rich on the end there because I assumed it was cognac cask when they say Grand Cru. And then I found that it was so dry, and then I found out it was champagne cask. I go, oh, okay. I think it's a very similar thing going on here.
Yeah, there's some. This almost reminds me of a single malt. It's got tons of that biscuity, malty, dinner roll notes to it. Some oats. It's very much so.
Yeah. So I brought this one, even though it's probably not going to come to Texas. I'm probably sending this one to.
Do you take care of other states or just Texas?
Oh, wait a minute. No, this one is staying in Texas. I'm sorry. If you're watching this and you know who you are, don't freak out. It's coming to Texas. This is coming to a group I can't tell you who it's going to yet.
Nope.
I can't tell you.
Interesting.
I can't tell you.
First of all, how dare you? Secondly, all right, so we've got time. You want to try my...
I do. I really do.
Yeah.
And because this will be my first chance to try it.
16-year-old Guyana. Do you want to do Belize? We've got a Barbados one as well.
I would like to try. Let's start with the Guyana since we just had our Guyana, and I like to see the. But I will say this: I love Belize.
The Belize is one of my favorites.
I love Belize rums.
We're running a little long today. That's going to be okay.
Okay.
Lots for. I just remember the first 4 minutes of this.
Let's say 130 proof.
Oh yeah, these are all cast strength single barrels.
Get out of here. No, come on, man.
The Guyana is like this is 16 years old and it's like 52%, so it's only 104 proof. Cast strength though.
What do you just?
I just remember the first 4 minutes of this.
You're just junkies. You know what I mean? It goes. It's like hardcore porn. After you have this stuff, the regular stuff doesn't do it for you anymore.
That's a weird thing. I don't know. I couldn't speak to that subject. I'm happily married, 14 years. We're about to start our 15th year together.
Okay, let's see. That's delightful.
Yeah. 16 years old, cast strength.
That
single
does
barrel.
not.
And it's
What's the proof?
It's under. So this was my personal. After we bottled it, I didn't put the proof on there, but it's 104 proof.
Oh, okay. No, that's lovely. I thought this was gonna be 130 proof. Also, I was like, there's no way.
No. And it's unfiltered, so you can see the barrel char floating around on the bottom. It's a real pain in the ass for the bottling line.
That's nice.
Okay. We got to go. Okay. Thanks so much for coming on. It's great seeing you. It's been a while.
Thank you for having me.
I'd fist bump you even though I just drank after you, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Good seeing you, Docs.
You got all that COVID swimming in you now. I don't want that back on me. Again.
When is this coming? For those
I don't. I don't even have TABC approved on the label yet.
Sometime in the next year.
Fingers crossed, like November, December. But this one is here already. You can find it at certainly at Specs on Smith Street. I saw it in Galveston at Specs out there also. But your favorite independent ones out there, I know that most likely you'll be seeing it soon over at NASA. Flax is also out there, and not too far from here. I'm sure Rice Liquors will pick it up.
Absolutely. One last thing. This is. You know what the SRP is going to be on this?
Like 60.
Oh, it's a great price. Great price. All right. Thanks so much for coming to the show. Cheers, guys. We'll see you soon.
Balcones' first ever year-round bourbon was an inspiration. It all had to work together. A blend of carefully selected ingredients, Texas-sized pot stills, and creative people determined to find the absolute best way to usher a new whiskey along. When you discover how it pairs with a meaningful moment, suddenly the feeling of drinking great whiskey becomes a whole lot more.